Hey guys, it's Mike with another video with Canine Revolution Training. Um, in this one, I wanted to talk about the realities of dog ownership and what that means as a whole. What a lot of people don't realize is that every dog owner has to be a trainer, a dog trainer to some extent. Um, Generally, what happens, and also dog training and dog ownership, it's for life. It's for the life of the dog. You're always going to have to hold that dog accountable for its whole life, not just at the beginning. So what typically happens and what you typically see is people will get a dog, or families, they'll get a dog, they'll get a puppy, they'll take it through puppy training class, they'll maybe go to a few of those, teaching basic obedience, which is great. You want to do that anyways, like sit, stay, shake a paw, things like that, leave it, all great stuff. They'll teach that, but then they'll kind of muddle through for the rest of the dog's life and kind of struggle along as they go. Their dog might pull on the leash, it might bark at every little thing, every little noise, it might be a nuisance in the car, it may carry on in its crate, or if they don't crate it, which is not a good idea, it could get into something and potentially injure itself or die. But the point is, most dog owners, they do a little bit of training at the beginning, and then they kind of just let it go for the rest of the dog's life and kind of just get by. The dog sort of listens some of the time, and some of the time doesn't. And this presents a lot of problems, especially if the dog develops aggressive tendencies or other potentially dangerous bad behaviors. So what people need to realize is, if you want to own a dog, you're going to have to learn to train that dog to at least a certain extent. For dog trainers, what people don't understand, or what a lot of people don't understand is, yes, we train your dog, but we also train the owner to train their dog. Because if I train someone's dog to listen to me, when that dog goes home, it's not necessarily going to listen to the owner. The owner has to work with the dog just as much or more in order to listen to the owner reliably. And the owner has to hold up their end. You have to hold your dog accountable for its entire life. Yes, you can maybe, when the dog has developed new behaviors and listens to you fairly reliably, let's say you have it in place, laying down, and he breaks that command, he gets up and goes to take a drink or something, and then goes and sits down again. Something like that. Later on, the dog has learned to be calm and learned to adapt to all kinds of situations and not explode or load up or anything just out of for something small reason or whatever it may be. You might reach the point where you can allow small things like that to happen, but early on especially, and especially if you are rehabbing a dog from aggression, you're gonna want to be fairly strict early on and reinforce that. So tons of positive reinforcement, tons of reward, and repetition over and over and over and over again until the good behaviors become pattern behaviors. At that point, you know what to expect from the dog. The dog knows what to expect of itself, but you still have to hold that dog accountable. So throughout the dog's life, it's still gonna push buttons, it's still gonna push boundaries to see what it can get away with, but you as the owner, you have to maintain your authority of that dog. You have to maintain the structure for that dog. You have to still advocate for your dog. You have to hold it accountable 99% of the time. Otherwise, if you allow a few little things to slip by, and then it becomes a little more, and before you know it, you have problematic behavior on your hands, and you're going to have to stop that, which requires administering a punishment of some sort. And then you're going to have to recondition and counter condition to get that dog back to pattern behavior that is good, that is behavior that you want. So yeah, the main point here for dog owners, you have to hold the dog accountable for life, and you have to be a dog trainer for the life of the dog, and you have to be a dog trainer to a certain extent. Every dog owner has to be. If you don't, your dog is going to walk all over you, and it makes me laugh, but it doesn't, because I know people are struggling, and I see them walking their dogs down the street, and the dog's just pulling at the end of the line, and they're struggling to keep it beside them. And it's, if you ask them about it, they'll say, well, it's the dog's walk. It's the dog's turn to be out and to do what they want, and it shouldn't be. The dog should only be allowed to do what it wants to do when you allow it. So if you're on a structured walk, then the dog is on a structured walk. It's work. It's training. The dog's beside you. It's healing. It's not pulling at the leash at the end. It should never be pulling on the leash. Only when you say break or give the release command and say, okay, you can go, sniff around this grass patch, you let the leash out a little bit and you allow them to go and sniff. But when it's time to walk again and get back down to business, it's let's go. Keep them by your side, hold them accountable for their behavior, and away you go. So yeah, it's just something that's quite important that a lot of people might not realize, that I wanted to kind of explain, and hopefully you understand. And I've got a lot more videos coming up. I'm going to be doing videos on some of the tools I use. I'm going to start off with the bonker, which is a rolled up towel basically. I'm going to explain how to use that, the prong collar and the e-collar, and those will be coming up in future videos. So thanks for watching, and stay tuned.